Could be. That could be. Gold. The NASDAQ. Same thing with the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's obviously a little bit less strength in there. But we've got a very strong balance here. If you, which, you know, for them, to me, the distribution, you got two distributions in here. Whoops. It gets over the 25.47 mark, 476 area. Again, I think this rotates back up. We're not getting crushed. You know, NASDAQ, which is is not doing as well since Friday. That's the one I didn't do. From the close of that Friday before we started, whoops. Yeah, we're only on NASDAQ's off 1.2%. It's really not, I don't see a lot of fear in this market. Even is starting to push higher. Put in a session. Just putting in a profile. These are the sessions in the blue. The value area is in the brighter blue. And one of the things you could see in the E-minis on Friday, well, Thursday and Friday, you've got this high volume area in here. And it seems, and from Sunday, it seems to be holding, which is, again, another positive. You see this a lot where you get a high volume area and prices are defended right here. So again, we're rotating higher. It looks like that 67.45 is just target range to see if they could do that. How it reacts up there is going to be critical. Is looking at value area in relation to previous days. And again, it takes a lot of the noise out. And for those who don't really know much about market profile, the value area, which is, again, this lighter blue, represents roughly 60, it represents 68%, in this case, volume. So the majority is in this area. So it kind of takes some of the noise out of the market. So, you know, Monday, March 9th to Tuesday, there really wasn't a lot of movement. Wednesday was higher. Thursday, pretty much over. So we're kind of, and again, we're talking crude. It's been kind of sideways. Today, the volume or the value area is a little bit higher than yesterday. If you combine, and this may be interesting, you combine these 2 days, you could get a get below here and make one profile. Let me get rid of that for a second. If you go start looking at it again, we're in value. If we start breaking down below here, we could start getting back down into the 70s, or at least in the 80s area. So this is going to be, this area is going to be critical. If we get volume above, if we get two distributions, and this is kind of an educational thing, is if you get a distribution, prices sell off and go below. So we've got high volume in here, distribution was above that, and then readjusted below that during the course of the day. That usually is a fairly strong sign that there's going to be continuation, in this case on the downside. So kind of the second distribution, especially if it goes through a high volume area of a previous day or previous couple days, will act as a signal on possible direction change. Yeah, that keeps pushing. Mhm. Really. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's the majority of the stuff I do is more on the swinger trade or longer term, but I trade around that all the time. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's um ES. I do some equities, day trade equities sometimes too, but usually the ES, gold, silver, crude. Actually, trade a lot of crude and a lot of gold. Those are the kind of the three. Throw silver in there. Those are the main ones that I'll look at. Well, I kind of threw a chart. What's interesting is, obviously we were trending higher. We've now we're starting to fall back. And to me, what I was talking about just before you came in is this is the electronics. So this was from basically Thursday and Friday, and you've got a high volume area. Here's volume from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is pretty much overlapping. So we really didn't have. And this morning we were trading above. So as I mentioned earlier, and being redundant, is when you start seeing value areas changing course, going from, in this case, kind of trading above the previous day's value area. It's a value area relationship. If we start getting and develop value down here, where this area starts, it's a very good indication. It's pretty consistent for me that there's going to be continuation on the downside. Kind of taking the ladder distribution. If it migrates from higher to lower of the previous day, or vice versa, it's usually a pretty good signal that there's going to be continuation on the downside. Obviously, with crude in the headlines, that could be blown up very easily. But you know, this pulling back obviously is helping the market. I think you're correct. I think you're correct. That's where the liquidity is, right? So what they're doing is they're saying to me when they're changing the value, they're changing where the liquidity is. So in this case, uh, in the crude market, with value up here above that, we're starting to see supply hit the market and start pushing this down. You know, I could see easily touch the 87.50 level. And the way it's going, it could be today. But if you throw in a profile of just the rally part of this, okay, let me get this out, maybe a little easier. You've got That's exactly what it is. So when you do that, and that's one of the advantages is it kind of breaks up the market. Let me check this quick so you can see a little bit better. You've got two, excuse me, you kind of have two distributions with this area kind of stopping at. So, if we could break below this, and that's what one of the things with market profile, and it does, you start seeing where prices go from one high volume area to the next. They're kind of like act like magnets. And it really wouldn't surprise me again to get to 86 level like sometime this week. But that's absolutely. Mhm. Yeah. Well, I was mentioning earlier is this market, I looked this weekend, really didn't sell off that much. You kind of look at the headlines and oh my God, but it didn't. Since the war, the Iraqi, we start bombing Iraq, we're off of 3.5%. That's nothing. Okay. From the highs. Yeah, and unless from the when we started buying. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, when you're off, I looked at the ETF ITA, which is aerospace and defense. You would assume they're doing good. They're down. That sector is down. Gold is down. Yields are up. We're at 422 on the futures. Yep. But you look, bonds just haven't moved. Um, they just we've been stuck here for forever. Yes, yeah. Let's here's a longer term. Is going back to uh, October of 22. I mean, it's just not doing much. Even the 2 year. I mean, we're starting to flatten a little bit. 210 spread, but nothing. I don't think anything critical. Um, the only thing is again, the big trade in this has been crude. VIX went up. It's obviously coming down, but crude's the only major trade in this whole over the last week or so. Yeah. Hmm. No, I agree. I think the sign that they're so resilient has been very helpful. You've got obviously the first thing that's going to happen is crude's going to fall. Right, we're going to go probably into the 70s, if not a little bit lower. That will be the first thing. Um, one of the things that, and again, I'm with you. The same sentiment. I don't want to get too much into the politics part of this, but this is he. Trump does not want inflation coming back, and this is going to start with oil prices rising. It's going to start affecting every other part of the economy, from food all the way down. It's going to affect the whole chain. And you start getting core CPI bouncing all over the place, and that's not going to look good. Yep. We got PPI. PPI's tomorrow. We got PPI tomorrow, but the big news this week is going to be FOMC on Wednesday. There's really nothing. Yeah. Hmm. Uh, Hold on one second. Yeah, the 10 year. I was just looking at uh, TC was asking about the 10 year. What he says since Thursday and Friday. Yeah, it's going back to Thursday and Friday, and again, I would do the same thing. Is I kind of I play around. I've been doing market profile since the '80s. And one of the things I always play around with is, what distribution are we in? Are we balanced? Are we directional? And, we've obviously going to have some issues. Again, 11 of 31 area. That's probably going to be, or 112 area is probably more apt. That's where the support is. You got low volume in here. So, will it go back and forth in here? It may, before it starts, possibly running higher. But I think that's one of the areas to look at. So I apologize. I was trying to answer that. And
Good morning, guys. How's it going?
Good morning.
Had to do my trades. I realized I cannot trade on stream. So yeah. And usually I'm done in 30 minutes, so here I am. Well, yeah, ideally I should have been long, right? I mean, the profile looked pretty long, but I missed that, and I just shorted the extent. In my opinion, it went too fast, too high too fast, so I shorted into that. I was looking to buy though. I just missed the buy though at like the 07s. I think Manny had the same. You were looking also to buy there, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the executions in my chart. If you guys look at the screen share, you can see my executions. I wanted to get long though on this little dump here that was like a market order sell into the almost the 07s where I was looking to buy because of this volume. I just missed that. It went very quickly. I was debating whether to just buy it here at the previous VPOC here at 09s or 10s. But I was too late. It already moved, and yeah, I didn't do that. But this was really telling for me. It was just a market sell, and if they catch that right away, which they did, it's usually it's a bullish sign. So I was gonna flip long here from my previously short bias, but I missed it unfortunately. But it is what it is. But it was nice to see that how they did that. It was very quickly.
Yeah, we're starting.
Yeah,
To,
this is
we got
short. Yeah,
demand. We got demand and crude hanging around that
yeah,
93, not roughly the 93 area.
yeah. So on my
See, a break below that, where we start going into the mid 80s, would definitely be helpful for the equity market. So that's what we got to watch. I mean, I think to a degree. Mhm, mhm. Okay. Mm. Yeah, wait for the pullback. Yeah, yeah. That. Mhm. Experience. It just talks about your experience, right? It's absolutely. That's a big part of this. Is like you said, understanding the context, doing the research beforehand. It makes all the difference in the world. That was looking back at my career, when you start doing stuff like that, you become much more of a trader than just drawing lines on a chart. So compliments to you.
sorry. Yeah, I was talking, but I was muted apparently. Monday morning, right? Anyway, yeah. So I usually execute on the dome because I kind of want to see the orders, and if there's some kind of iceberg order or something like that, I kind of want to front run it. In case they usually tend to bounce off it. So execute on the DOM, but I watch the footprint chart. Yeah, I want to see where the volume executes. I want to see the imbalances, and that's one of the reason I shorted it into the move, was because there was an imbalance, right? So they moved it up with very low volume and then built some volume at the top. So I figured, well, a rebalance to that where they started to do that makes sense, and that's exactly what they did. And my bias was still a little bit to the long side because I missed that 7 sweep to the sevens. It's just that I didn't got in, but that's the reason why I shorted it, at least. Yeah. Because nothing goes up, nothing goes straight up, right? Nothing goes straight down, nothing goes straight up. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
Again,
Better. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
the conflicting information. Yes.
Oh
Even
yes.
Bitcoin's even got a bid this morning. So
Yeah.
I went long. When was it? Back in end of February, before I left, I went long Bitcoin. It was, from a longer term perspective. I bought the ETF, the IBIT, because there was this area to me. There was a lot of buyers in here, and I just thought when it came down in here that they're going to support it to some degree, and we may get a bounce of the 87,000. That's kind of what I'm looking. But anyway, that was kind of my little analysis. Yeah. So we've got a high out that distribution. We got a lot of volume in here, so which is going to cause a little. This is going to be resistance for the market if it gets back up into the 80, 85 area. So it's going to try to run there. That's what it's trying to do. If it doesn't, we're going to have another pullback down. That's one of the things is with profile, it kind of gives you these outlines. You kind of see the actual structure of the market. We've got this pullback. Obviously, we've got some support in here. We got demand coming in here and stop the selling. It's trying to push higher. Excuse me. If we can't get back up into this area, I think maybe longer term we're going to sell off more. Probably get down to the 26,000 level, 30,000. And again, if we can't run up there, I think the market's going to fail you and start running back down to the, let's say, roughly 30,000. Round numbers, but I'm long right now. Yeah, yeah, it's going to try. It's trying. So we'll see. That's the thing. Yeah, it's going off of this area. I kind of drew a longer term uh, of this rally here, this distribution, going from January of 23 to October of, and this high volume area here represents this balance. And going out, you've got to, this is buyers, right? Demand is pushing this higher. When it broke in this area, I was expecting this to catch. So they're defending this. How well they do. Again, we break this. We break this. 60 mid 60s, 60,000 area. we can conceivably get down to the, again, down to the 30,000. But it's trying to go long. Good. Every sector is higher. From technology, all 11 sectors are higher. Everything. Yeah, this is the only thing is oil and oil and gold is the only thing that's, which is fine. Yep. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, I think my day is done. I did my thing, and I usually just shut it down after.
If
Yeah.
can I, Niels, you were referring to something, and I think this dovetails great into this. I had a conversation earlier with a couple traders regarding this point, and Niels alluded to this: is your day is kind of done. Do you guys, and just asking your opinion, do you guys, if you have a daily goal, for example, let's say I want to make $1,000 in a day. If you make that $1,000 or your
Mhm.
goal in the first day, are you done for the day, or do you continue trading?
I'm done. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? It, it helps.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Do you think that statistic has to do with emotional part of this? Like if you take a loss on Monday, does that do you think that affects the rest
No,
of
that's
your
been
week?
right.
Does it? Niels, you fall. What do you think?
Sorry, guys. Danny's calling me. Be right back. I'm back.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. 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 What was your question, Tom?
Oh no, we were just asking if you felt the same way as far as getting your getting your goal in, as far as
Ah,
just walking away.
yeah. So, well, my goal is even lower because I copy trade, right? I don't need to make $1,000 per account. So my goal is usually like around 300 or so per account. That's it. Then I'm good. Today I did double that. Um, yeah. I'm not really watching it per se. I'm just doing my trade, and if I after the trade, if I'll see if it's good or not. Um, and today it was, but
I am
I have.
definitely the outlier. I don't.
Mhm.
I won't stop. I don't. I don't. And I have the same discussion with traders because yeah, I made my goal. I'm done. And there's a lot of logic to what you're saying. But if I have setups that say, okay, when this happens, I'm,
Mhm.
70% of
Yeah,
chance of winning. I'm going to
yeah,
say, oh, geez, well, I made my nut this morning.
yeah.
I'm going to
But
walk away from it. I
I
can't.
think I think it makes sense, but it depends what you're trading. So I switched like since last year. I switched to prop firms mainly, and
Mhm.
the previous 16 years I've just been trading my own money, right? So with these prop firms, you have more rules and consistency and whatnot. So I also don't want to make that much per day, right? So I will ruin my consistency. So that's another factor for me that also helps because like I agree because if you're in the right flow, you're reading the market good, you should
Mhm.
basically just continue until you have at least one losing trade, right? Or two maybe in a row,
Yeah.
and then stop. So in that sense I agree. So if you just trade your own money, I think that's what you should do. Yeah. And you're probably doing that. So um in that sense, I agree you should continue when it's going well and you should stop when it's not. Right? So if you start out the day with two losers, I'm usually done for the day. I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling it today. There's no need to press it. Uh, you know, your psychology kicks in, things like that. It's probably not going to be the most profitable day anyway. So so yeah, I think that context changes a lot of things. At least it did for me. So
Well,
yeah,
I mean, you're dealing with a different thing with funded traders. Your goal isn't necessarily to make all the money; it's more consistency. I'm
yeah,
ignorant about the subject, so yeah, it's.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Plus, I also don't want to be trading the whole day. So my whole thing is I just want to trade 30 minutes, and I
Mhm.
just want to. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not per se super focused on my goal per se, because otherwise I would have exited the trade from today earlier, right? Because halfway I was already at my goal. I just want to let the trade play out, and then I'll look at my P&L, because honestly I didn't really know. And that's maybe even more important than watching your goal, right? Let the trade play out, and then watch your P&L instead of the
Man,
other way around.
yeah,
Um,
you know,
but
one
that
of
took me
go ahead. I'm
took me
sorry.
a while though. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think one of the things that Manny had said, and I think really you need to talk about this a little bit more, is I think that was key is, you're talking about your journaling and how you notice that when you start trading a lot, you start losing money. And I think, and again, referring back to, when I started to get a little bit more fine tuned in my journaling, what I'm doing, what setups are working, what's what, that
Mhm.
made a big difference, a material difference in my trading. And,
Yeah.
that's key, for the guys that are just starting. You can't journal enough.
Yeah, I made my own little journaling software. So, yeah, I can just import my written space, then that's it. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. Hmm. Yep. No, it's important. It really is, because we've all, we all have good days and bad days. And, you know, there was a question that was asked is, we all want, when you said we're in the zone, to me, when I'm in the zone, sometimes it's, to me, I get just as excited by cutting a small loss, and have it continue to go down and go against me. When I get out, small losses are, hey, as part of the business, I like that, to say, okay, I got out of the way of a locomotive. Um, if we can do that when I'm in that zone. Yeah, it's really fun. When I get in the zone, is I'm with the market. You can understand I could be losing money, but I'm managing the trades really well. That's when I'm in the zone. So it's not a matter necessarily for me, oh, I made a lot of money. I've made a lot of money being ignorant and lucky.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's a very, very good difference to note. Because I've had it too, that I had a really good day, but basically I was just in the end maybe revenge trading, and it worked out really well, but it was in no way good trading, like,
Mhm.
yeah. So that's a good difference to note for sure. Yeah, yeah, very important.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're starting to see. I'm looking at E-mini. We're starting to see some volume. This is just a
Yeah.
daily chart that I'm looking at, but we're kind of. It looks like we're getting pushback from the rally. Um,
So I'm sharing my stats. I made my own journaling software. Well,
oh,
journal
okay.
software. You can just import your rhythmic rates. That's it. And it's for free, by the way. If someone wants it, it's at nielstrace.com. Everyone can use it. Um, yeah, I just want to know how I did during the day. So today I made almost 7K. Um, let's see. And then last week, well, actually Mondays are my good days. I see now, which is funny.
Oh, okay.
So last Monday I made almost 11K. So, but I got very, very defensive the rest of the week, right? So I didn't trade much the rest of the week. And that was interesting because I was like, oh wow, this is a really good day. So I got super, super risk averse after that. So I'm kind of was diving into that psychological effect, that it had on me. I'm like, wow, okay, interesting. So I had very small days after that, and I just traded one account, and yeah, and so today was also a good day, but it was more controlled. I'd say I was a little bit more patient, and yeah. But then I can I don't know if you guys are looking at my screen share, but then if you go down, you can also see the
Oh, wow.
times the times I was in my trade, right? So when you took them, how long you were in a trade. So my longest trade is, I guess, 7 minutes. That was very long for me. But most of the trades are like within 2-3 minutes, right? So the
Mhm.
whole bunch. And the time of trading was very, very focused on the open. And I think this difference might be due to the time zone difference, actually. But it's all at the opening.
Do you find the
Um,
longer you're in a trade, the better you do, or the worse you do? Or is there any correlation?
Well, so I think well, my stops are pretty short. So like you can see, the most of them are stopping out at minus 250 or 200, something like. So I usually my stop is around, like, in this volatility is like 4 points or so, more or less. Um, and that happens very quickly anyway if you're wrong with how the market trades right now, right? So you're in no time you're down 4 points, and I just like to stop out and reassess. I might re-enter, if it still confirms my thesis, what I thought was going to happen. But I don't want to hold it that long into a loss and then finding out later that I'm wrong, right? So I prefer to be wrong quickly and then maybe re-enter if it still confirms the setup that I have. And but you can see, like, the most of the trades that I stop out there are like within 2 minutes, right?
Mhm.
There's some outliers.
Yeah, there's a few outliers. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no.
but it's still
I don't
only
think
five
there's
points here,
correlation.
right? So this is per contract, so it's only 5 points. So one time, this is probably when I moved my stop. And this shouldn't happen, right? That was like probably a very bad day for me, that I was moving my stop, and that's something to learn from that. Like, so don't do that because it will never work out, right? So yeah, that was this one. So and this was around, yeah, it was at the open probably. So time, I think there's some, because I'm in Europe, right? So we have an hour extra of time now. Like now it's 4 hours difference. Normally it's 5 hours, but I'm pretty sure this was around the open or the when the IB was set. So yeah, it was not a good one. But I would say the most of it is really within 2 minutes and really right after the open, and at maximum, like, I think it's around here, like an hour in, yeah, maximum. So I really just trade the first 30 minutes, most of the times. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, and
Well,
then
here's another question. You guys
yeah.
change the amount you trade, or the quantity of contracts that you guys trade in markets that are a little bit more volatile or headline driven like this?
So for me, I'm very boring. I just trade the ES, and I just do 2 contracts max. That's it. So it's never more than that. So it's just, that's the thing. It depends. If it's volatile, I only do one lot, really. And
Mhm.
if I'm in the zone, I might do two, but that's really it. And I only do ES. I do nothing else, really. I haven't traded anything else for I don't know how long.
Oh, really?
Many, many years. I have not traded anything else than ES, and it's just my product. It's just my where I'm comfortable with, the market that I really, really know very, very well. And honestly, if I look at NQ, I'm already getting a heart attack without even trading it. So um, it's not for me, right? Yeah, it's just us for me. So, but yeah, that's very personal, right? So I know a lot of people trade NQ because it moves a lot. So I get it. You can make a lot very quickly, but that mean at the same time that means you can also lose a lot very quickly. So for me, it's not the instrument for me. But yeah, I know actually personally a lot of good NQ traders. So I know it's possible, but it has to fit your personality. And yeah, for me it doesn't.
That's the most important part of this
Yeah,
whole thing is find
yeah,
your personality and trade that. I
yeah.
knew a guy, and this is an honest truth. I knew a guy that made over $1 million trading one account, and he started a very small account. And this was, I'm dating myself, and Sarah Lee, the pastry, company. I don't
Mhm,
think it's no longer in existence. Guy traded Sarah Lee. That's the only stock he traded. It's a
mhm.
staple, right? It's not a volatile stock. And he made over $1 million just trading one stock for years.
Yeah.
It's only he
Yeah,
just
so
knew.
yeah, it's exactly my point. Like, if you know something really, really well, like, why do something else, right? Just keep doing it and keep doing it bigger at some point, Try to
Mhm.
slowly do it bigger and to do exactly the same thing. Yeah, just don't change the winning strategy, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. But I've been there. I've been there. Like, I've been trading for 17 years now, right? So in the beginning, I was trading everything. I was trading gold, oil, NQ, Russell, Euro stocks, DAX. I've been through everything, right? I've been through everything for sure. And yeah, it's I don't know. I'm just comfortable with this, and I haven't changed it in the last what is it, over 10 years. I haven't traded anything else in ES. So yeah,
Does it
yeah.
grab the amount of time that you're in a trade from your tickets?
Sorry.
Does it automatically grab the amount of time that you're in a trade off of your tickets, or do you manually put that in?
With the journaling, you mean?
Yeah, in the journaling, correct.
Oh, everything is automatic. You just import the trades and
Okay.
it does it automatically. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's nice. I mean, it's just some basic stats that I previously was paying for, and I was like, well, let me build something myself because this is all I need to see. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm just using this right now. It's just and my win rate is even not so high. It used to be higher. I used to be around 70 usually, but I've been, I don't know, a little bit more flexible with it. Also with this volatility, I'm losing a little bit more trades, but I'm also winning more per trade. So in the end, my profit is higher. So
That's what
you
it's
can
about.
see, right? The average loss is like 163, and the average win is like 215. So
Mhm.
that still can be better, but yeah, with a high end of win rate, yeah, you can get away with it. Yeah, I'm not too unhappy with it.
Well,
Let's say.
it was Stanley Druckenmiller says, what is it? How much are you going to make if you're right versus how much are you going to lose if you're wrong?
Yeah,
Or something to
exactly.
that effect. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. And yeah, that's more important.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, like Danny says, that's my plan, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. Hey, Manny, the internals turn around a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, oil made a double low light that printed a test and moving up. So I put the oil chart up. I never put an oil chart up, but I hear you guys talking about it. And I was like, okay, let's put up an oil chart. But yeah, so they tested the low and went back up. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But anyway, I had a little zone there at the top because like there was some volume from before, right? So at
Mhm.
the highs here, yeah, so they tested right into that. Um, yeah, and for the rest, I don't know. Like I said, in my opinion, it just went up too quick, too fast. too high too fast. And now it's just rebalancing, and basically they're rebalancing now, still inside the range of Thursday, right? When we had that balance day, they're still inside it. So yeah, but yeah, I'm not trading anymore anyway. And I'm gonna go for a little walk, my dog. So so see you guys soon.
All right, Niels, thank you. 66.70. Yeah, I see that. And I just put a profile in. The distribution on E-mini is going from 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock Central, or 6 o'clock Eastern. We've got some volume in here, and let's see how strong these traders are. Are they, these guys here in that area, are they going to be able to hold the prices? This holds, we may have to push higher. But I want to see how willing these guys are to defend their prices. Yeah, and I could see, got hot volume down to that number you were just saying, the 6,700 or 6670 area. I'm sorry. I could definitely see that area. No, no. You've got on this 30-minute chart, you kind of have a excess bar, a much larger bar than all the other ones. Usually when you come shooting out of here, the base of that bar or that spike, it kind of acts as support in this case. So if it gets down there, will they be holding this? Let's see what it looks like in a 5-minute. All right. So the initial reaction looks like some volume is coming in, and they are defending that little zone. Again, I switch to a 5-minute chart. Still a lot of green in the sectors. Yeah, this area, again, this 67, uh, 6694 area. If this can hold, we may have another leg up. Watch this thing bounce. Excuse me, if it does not bounce, it breaks down. I think Mandy's area is going to be very critical. The 6670 area is going to be very critical to this market holding these profits. Yeah, that's not it. Yeah, we're continuing to ride that down as prices of crude. Yeah, we're testing these lows here. Let's see what they're going to do. We're still up on the day, positive. Crude's down. So those are good things. Yields. And yields continue to 43. Yeah, again, it's watching the yields. It just really doesn't show much. And Bitcoin sold off. Again, there's too much supply up there, I guess. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, we're still up, but mhm. No, no, It was a little in there. Yeah, it really well, down and test it. I looked at sometimes I look at the SPY, just kind of look at the regular trading sessions, and we came back and just basically went below the gap low. So now we're trying to bounce off of that. Mhm. I'm trying to do a little bit of a bounce. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It was fun. All right, guys. Have a nice day.